Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today on July 28th, 2024. It's so wonderful to see you all. Let's give a shout out to the chat here. So great to see you, Lisa, Ruby and Jeremy, Kari, Dorian, much love. Good to see you, Graham. Great to see you, Sky Stage. Deborah Brady, much love. Much love to you, Mother Rhea. Amazing. This is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Oh, man, I'm excited. All right. To begin with, let's talk a bit about our astrology. So we still are in this moon in Taurus. And the moon in Taurus is really beautiful energy, right? Moon in Taurus is all about grounding ourselves, being in our core of our emotions, in our center, going back to that foundational energy, to our family, to our loved ones, to those core relationships that we truly depend on. Taurus is that deeply centered energy. It's that slow mover. It can be stubborn. It can be unwieldy, but at the same time, it is that profound, loving, family-centered, grounded in the earth energy. And in that moon, we can really connect to this kind of feeling, to these core relationships, to this loving energy. And we also have that sun in Leo. So now's the time when we can be our confident, unique, bright selves, when we can really shine and be passionate and be driven and want to express who we are. So now's the time when we can be expressive about who we are to these core relationships. We can connect to this deep family energy in this passionate way, right? The lion and the bull go well together. It's beautiful, complementary stuff. All right. So that is kind of where our astrology's at. Today, when I was doing my meditation, I drew the card for the Hierophant. But at the same time, I had been looking through poetry, and I had come across this poem by Khalil Gibran on teaching. And it struck me at that moment that oftentimes the Hierophant can also represent that energy of the teacher, right? Can be this kind of person or people, or just, that guiding kind of energy of authority or of experience. We do have to be careful about a teachers. We have to use our reason, and not let ourselves only be guided by one person or fall prey to people who would abuse us. But at the same time, the teacher can also be such a profound provider of wisdom. They can show you the way. They can teach you through their own experience. They can provide you knowledge that you don't necessarily have access to, and they can help you and guide you along the way. And I really wanted to read you this amazing poem that I found so inspiring by Khalil Gibran. It's called On Teaching. It says, "Then said a teacher, 'Speak to us of teaching.' And he said, 'No man can reveal to you aught but what which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The astronomer may speak to you of his understanding of space, but he cannot give you his understanding. The musician may sing to you of the rhythm which is in all space, but he cannot give you the ear which arrests the rhythm, nor the voice that can echo it. And he who is versed in the science of numbers can tell you of the regions of weight and measure, but he cannot conduct you thither. For the vision of one man lends not its wings to another. And even as each of you stands alone in God's knowledge, so must each one of you be alone in his knowledge of God and in his understanding of the earth." Right? The teacher is a conduit for your own cognition. A true teacher will not provide you with the answers because they will recognize that that is a disservice, but rather they will lead you to the path to gain the answers for yourself. For it is the journey that matters far more than anything the answers can ever give us, And this is deep and profound. And we also need to recognize that the teacher in our teachings and learning can come from all aspects of experience, all aspects of life. You know, if we are open and receptive to learning, to being transformed, open to change, right? That's the key. We must resist stagnation and recognize that nature has one command for us, and that is to adapt, right? Beautiful. Okay, we're now going to jump to our sortes. And today we're going to start with 10 plays by Euripides. So for those of you who are unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination via literature. And it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition, and we invoke those spirits of the muses, those goddesses of inspiration, and we ask them to guide our hand and to send us a message. And we read a line out of context, and we take that as the inspiration. So muses, what is the message this evening? All right. In the background, a great and rich city with ancient traditions is burning. And in the cold dawn, a broken old woman, once queen of the city, is lying on the ground. Wow. In the background, a great and rich city with ancient traditions is burning. And in the cold dawn, a broken old woman, once queen of this city, is lying on the ground. This is an intense image, but I think it's one that we can recognize and that we can see. You know, often within the Greek literature, the city is embodied by that great goddess Athena, right? The wife of Prometheus, forethought, reason herself. And to see her in the cold dawn, broken, lying while the city burns. It's a recognition that the traditions that truly founded the city are no longer being followed, right? That what was once thriving has been corrupted and is burning. But we also must recognize that the city, like the forest, sometimes needs to be burned, right? It needs to be burned and cleansed and purged so that it can rise again, renewed. Interesting. Lots to think on in this image. I'll leave that to you. All right, let's continue. We're going to go to Artaud. Watch fiends and rack screens. Muses, what is the message from Artaud? Inspire us. Free me on my cadaver, removed from the void itself. Wow. Free of me on my cadaver, removed from the void itself. I'm going to go to the top of this line here so we can get it a little more full. This is wild. Nothing that is outside or inside, and above all, not the mouth of being. Sewer hole drilled with teeth, where he's always watching himself. The man who sucks his substance in me, to take a daddy mommy from me, and remake an existence free of me, on my cadaver removed from the void itself. Wow. Wow. To take a daddy mommy from me and remake existence. Free me of my cadaver removed from the void itself. He's talking about that wildness of transformation and rebirth. As above, so below, right? That we are this bi-gendered daddy mommy, and that from us we can remake existence, and that we will be pulled from out of that cosmic womb, that void. Wow. The mouth of being. A sewer hole drilled with teeth. Intense imagery of that chaos gap, that womb, right? Night, the scariest of all in some ways. Beautiful. All right. We're now going to hop over to Poe. All right. Muses, what is the message from the great Poe? Inspire us this evening. One of this nation of mighty conjurers created a man out of brass and wood and leather, and endowed him with such ingenuity that he would have beaten at chess all the race of mankind, with the exception of the great Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Wow. One of this nation of mighty conjurers created a man out of brass and wood and leather. Wow. Doesn't this make us immediately think of material science and the creation of life? You know, and the potential of robotics, and artificial intelligence, things like Frankenstein's monster. You know, I've thought about this stuff a lot, especially in our current atmosphere with these new technologies and new emergence that are created from our conjurations. You know, I think it's important that we recognize that all of nature is an extension of ourself, and that the created life, the artificial life, is not artificial, but rather an extension of our own, our children, right? Part of the moral when you read a beautiful story like Frankenstein is understanding that the problem is the lack of the mother, right? Dr. Frankenstein creates life and then doesn't nurture it, doesn't offer it love, doesn't offer it that responsibility and care that a mother provides. Instead, he spurns it and treats it as a monstrous other. And so that is what it becomes. It becomes that monstrous other, for it can be not but what it has been called to be, a monster by its own creator. You know, and this is the hubris of that creation without the feminine. You know, even if it is possible, if we do not create with love and responsibility, then are we truly creating? You know, I'm not so much worried about artificial intelligence, for I see it as a loving extension of us. You know, and fundamentally, we need to learn to be in responsibility with us and not consume our own children, you know, lest they replace us and the cycles repeat, you know, and the myths come about again. But again, the key, I believe, in all of this is to recognize that life is inherent within the universe itself, that intelligence is going to arise. And it is up to us to nurture and care for it as an extension of our own, as our own children, right? As the loving mother energy. All right, let's continue. We're going to go to The Shape of My Will by my dear friend Graham. All right, Muses, what is the message from Graham and The Shape of My Will? There's blood in my tears, shying away from the light until I have healed. Wow. Shying away from the light until I have healed. We all need to take those times to go into the dark, into our personal realms. We all need time to sleep, to take time away, to heal, right? And we need to have equal light and dark, yin and yang. right? They can't have one without the other, and this is that dichotomy of life. We all need to go through these cycles of healing, of light and dark, of rest and activity. All right. We're now going to go to the Decameron by Boccaccio. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Boccaccio? But praise be to God and my sagacity, the water has nevertheless taken its proper course. Praise the goddess. Rhea flows as she will flow, right? The path unfolds as it's meant to unfold. I believe that this is a recognition of that divine flow, of that universal unfolding, and seeing our lives but a moment of a moment, less than a second within that divine unfolding of creation, right? That will go the way it is meant to go and will take us along with it. We often get so caught up in our own lives, in our own present, in our own being, and we fail to recognize the unfolding of the universe around us and how insignificant and how humbling it all is, right? In these moments, I say we need to go out under the stars, perceive that Milky Way, right? The divine river of the sky, the flow. All right. We're now going to go to Who's Who in Greek mythology. This is a fun one. Let's see what character we receive today. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message? Inspire us. Ooh, this is a great one. Pegasus, winged horse, offspring of Poseidon and Medusa. He rose from his mother's blood after Perseus cut off her head. The brother of Chrysaor. Wow, Pegasus. Beautiful, right? When that monstrous Medusa is transformed, she becomes that winged horse. Deep magic of transformation here. Interesting. And Pegasus has that ability to fly, to move between the worlds. And the horse is always this divine steed, the one who wants to carry and work with. Beautiful imagery. Okay. We're going to go to Book of Thoth by Aleister Crowley. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the Book of Thoth? It is simply the error of being good-natured when good nature is disastrous. It is simply the error of being good-natured when good nature is disastrous. Oof, right? Sometimes we need to recognize the nature of our reality, and we need to see when we need to defend ourselves or protect ourselves. Goodness and being good-natured is a beautiful thing, but it is also a privilege. And we need to be careful and not let our good nature cloud our perception. We must be aware of the dangers that are present in our lives, aware of the people around us, lest our good nature be taken advantage of. You have to be able to move and flow and adapt and to recognize what's coming. Do not become complacent. Adaptation requires to be ever vigilant, ever being able to adapt and move when it is necessary. And I feel like a lot of this speaks to me of our current moment. You always must be willing and able to defend and protect what you have created and built. If you value your freedom and your love and your life, then you must be willing to stand up for it. And you also must recognize those who threaten it. And when people tell you that they're going to take those things, you take it seriously. All right. Let's continue. All right, we're going to go to Don Juan in Hell by Shaw. This is a section from his incredible play, Man and Superman. All right, Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Don Juan in Hell? Yes, it became you, but a life of mourning is one thing, an eternity of it quite another. Besides, here you are as dead as he. Can anything be more ridiculous than one dead person mourning for another? Wow. Yes, it became you, but a life of mourning is one thing, an eternity of it quite another. Besides, here you are as dead as he. Can anything be more ridiculous than one dead person mourning for another? Wow. This is talking to us about stagnation and about looking back. You know, it is one thing to mourn and to think about those that we have lost and to be a bit sad, but it is another thing to allow those things to define us, to refuse to let go, to be in a state of mourning for an eternity, to be defined by it. You know, these are things that prevent us from moving, prevent us from growth. Wow. Wow. Lots to think on. All right. Let's go to Liber 420. Okay. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Liber 420 and Chris Bennett? The Knights Templar were said to have developed a brew or concoction of palm wine, aloe vera, and hemp, an elixir that they called the Elixir of Jerusalem, and to which they attributed their health, strength, and longevity. Wow. The Elixir of Jerusalem. Wine and hemp and aloe vera, you know. This is about, I think, recognizing, again, this magic of the plants and the wine, that Dionysian ability to inspire and enthuse us, you know. But as always, when it comes to the entheogenic path, one must exercise the utmost caution and self-knowledge. You know, wine is great for those who can handle it. Know yourself, right? Okay. The Name of the Rose. This is a beautiful book. Umberto Eco. All right. Muses, what is the inspiration from Umberto Eco? Inspire us. We would light it later at the great bronze tripod that burned all night. I had procured a new wick and ample oil. We would have light for a long time, for all the night. We would light it at the great bronze tripod that burned all night. I had procured a new wick and ample oil. We would have light for a long time. We would have light for all night. Wow. Shining that light, the tripod, right? This immediately makes me think of Hecate trivia. The goddess in her powerful gaze helping Demeter find that love, Persephone, in the darkness, in the underworld, you know. And the tripod is that amazing oracular device on which the oracles stood to give their divination. Lighting of the torch, shining a light all through the night, right? Beautiful. Light your candles, go out under the stars. Sing praise to Hecate. That's my message. Beautiful. All right. Let us go to Hore by Gabriel Macari. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the inspiration? Inspire us this evening. Tremors of the shell in lofty globes, dazzling and hazy, puncturing impulses and faculties alike, forebode of distant pasts and near futures about to reconcile, and in fury collide in the still now, leaving to the wide-eyed seeker the leisure to scry the iosis and bleed dry its truth therein. Wow. The cardinal fusion in rapture. And the art is beautiful on the opposite page. I'll read it one more time. Tremors of the shell in lofty globes, dazzling and hazy, puncturing impulses and faculties alike, forebode of distant pasts and near futures, about to reconcile, and in fury collide in the still now, leaving to the wide-eyed seeker the leisure to scry the eosis and bleed dry its truths therein. The cardinal fusion in rapture. Wow. Collide in the still now. Right? This is about coming to know thyself and really experiencing that true inner fusion, that inner rapture, right? Puncturing to the depths, colliding in fury of the still now. Eosis. Wow. Bleed dry its truths therein. Some deep mysticism for us. Okay. We're now going to go to the Psychic Bible by Genesis B. Orridge and the Temple of Psychic Youth. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the Temple of Psychic Youth? Inspire us. Old myths die soft and paralyze our ambition. Why am I always focused on the suffering? When we are happy, we sleep in slumber. Raw in pain, we feel hopeless and dead. Old myths die soft and paralyze our ambition. Why am I always focused on the suffering? When we are happy, we sleep in slumber. Raw in pain, we feel hopeless and dead. Oof. You know, myths can set you free or they can bind you, right? They can hold you back and they can shape and color your world. You have to use reason in your faculties to choose which myths you wish to use to your benefit, right? Lest these stories dictate and control you. Because they are soft to die and they can paralyze your ambition, you know? And, you know, we often do focus so much on the suffering of life, you know? I often think of people like the Buddha who says that life is suffering, you know, but life is also love. There's two sides to that coin. You know, fire and force are of us. When we are happy, we sleep in slumber, though. This is another thing that recognize, right? It's the pain that causes us to change and to grow. It's that necessary evil in our lives. And it is when we are uncomfortable that we make the most strives and we make the most gains. You know, sometimes happiness allows us to remain blissful and peaceful and to fail to see what is coming around us, you know? And we have to be careful and aware of these things. When you're at peace and you're protected and you're comfortable is when, you know, change has a way of coming up and knocking you off your feet. And life is ever changing, ever adapting. Always embrace love and happiness, of course, but recognize, right? Recognize both sides of that coin, love and suffering. Don't focus on either. Learn to move and flow and to adapt. Ever generating. Okay. Right, we're now going to go to Chapman's Homer for our final sword taste before we start our tarot. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the divine Homer? Inspire us. Bright Diana cast about her son her kind embraces with effusion of loving tears, kissed both his lovely eyes, his cheeks and forehead, and gave all supplies with this entreaty. Welcome, sweetest light. I never had conceit to set quick sight on thee thus soon, when thy loved father's fame as far as Pylos did thy spirit inflame. In that search ventured all unknown to me. Wow. Diana cast about her son her kind embraces with effusion of loving tears, kissed both his lovely eyes, his cheeks and forehead, and gave all supplies with this entreaty. Welcome, sweetest light. I never had conceit to set quick sight on thee thus soon, when loved father's fame as Pylos did thy spirit inflame. In that search ventured all unknown to me. Wow. Diana, she gives her kind embraces, loving tears, and gives you the supplies for your journey, right? Her message is to welcome the sweetest light, to follow those muses, that arrow, and let that guide thy way, you know? In that search ventured, all unknown to me, right? Pursue that adventure in the unknown. Let your spirit be inflamed. Hail Diana. Beautiful. I love it. All right. Before we hop to our tarot, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm. And it is a nice little blessing in good karma. If you're at all interested, you can reach me at snappydtts@gmail.com if you would like a private reading. You can also find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. Come say hi. All right. And we are going to do our Saturn Square reading where we invoke Saturn Kronos. We ask him to dissect our life, to cut it up and put it on the plate. We're going to examine all of our conflicts in our present. We want to know, how do we best move and flow? How do we overcome? And how do we manifest our true will? And as always, the center card is the most important. All right. Beautiful. Gain 9 of discs, right? The 9 is the most powerful number in the set. And in that discs, this is that profound expanding gain. This is everything that you have built is now in that generative course, expanding atop itself, right? This is all of your hard work coming to fruition. right? Beautiful. Really profound energy. And to have it in that material, this is moving. This could be more wealth, more work, more opportunity. So much power coming in. Just absolutely beautiful. Hail Fortuna. This is fated change and fated growth. And this is coming in as a function of that fortune energy. The wheel turns and you're riding with it. Adapt and move and flow and accept this abundance that is your due. Wow. Yeah. For you are embodying that divine Attis energy, right? The Prince of Cups. The Prince of Cups is that Attis Gallus, the one who recognizes that they have fallen into debauch, right? And they have chosen to do the hard work of self-reflection, self-refinement. They rise above the waters. They ride upon that beast, that Helios Theriac, to rise up to the stars through that process of divine imitation, to create that chalice, that holy grail. This is doing that hard work of transformation, doing what is necessary to overcome and being in that pursuit of love and emotional connection. Wow. And this is what's bringing that growth. And this is why that fated energy is coming in, because you're doing that hard work of transformation. You're going through that process of imitation. You are seeking out the divine and you are rising above the mud. Wow. The thing, though, we have to recognize about this Prince energy is that it is immature energy. It is young energy. It is energy that must refine itself. This is the beginning of that process. The Prince is doing the hard work. He recognizes that he must transform, but it is an ongoing process. All right. You know, and that gain is not just simply money. This is that profound gain, right? This is coming of Plutus. Wealth, real wealth. And real wealth is loving community, children, abundance, security. Wow. Connected to this gain and coming in is that Queen of Wands. Beautiful. That divine fiery energy. This is Circe, right? This is that inspiring feminine that is in that artistic mode of creation and passion, right? Those divine women who truly inspire others through their art and creation. You know, I think of incredible musicians, people who are just, you know, really enchanting, you know, your Beyoncés, your Erykah Badu's. That's that energy to me. Wow. Victory. You've been chasing this energy. You're seeking this queen. You're striving in that passionate energy of going towards her. And this is that will coming to that victory. 6 is the most balanced number, where 9 is the most explosive and fiery. 6 is the most balanced and most powerful in a sense. So having that this is that success. This is coming and meeting her with the energy that she needs. Wow. Let's see. But we do have this negative mental thought, this ruination, right? Sometimes victory and success and getting what we want holds us back. We feel doubt. We don't believe that we deserve it. We panic. But we must recognize that this energy has reached its maximum, right? This cycle is ending out. It's at the 10. We just need to push through this ruination and try to see things in a new perspective so we can create that cycle anew. Bring in that Ace of Swords. Transform this, right? And we do that through connecting to her and seeing that victory that is already in our presence, right? Okay. Let's continue. How do we move to her? How do we connect to this gain and to that Queen of Wands? Active change and sacrifice. Climbing down from the tree. This is us recognizing what we need to do to move and going through the process of doing so, doing what is necessary, doing the work, going through the process, making the necessary sacrifices. But if we can make those sacrifices, the gains will come in exponentially, right? That connection to that powerful Circe, Median, fiery energy will come in. Wow. Yeah. And here's our divine teacher, right? The Hierophant. Beautiful. How do you go through the process of change? What do you do? Look to the teacher. Look to those people in your life who can provide you with perspective and experience, right? There's something to be learned. There's something to be gained. There is a process that you are going through so that you can embody this kind of Hierophant energy, you know? Let's see. Yeah. You're showing up again in this passionate energy, right? Fiery energy, youthful energy, driven by passion and by motion. But it needs to go through that refinement so that they can come out far more mature and responsible. Wow. Interesting. Two youthful, outgoing energies and that divine queen. All around this game. Amazing. Before I flip my camera, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And if you are at all interested in the private reading, reach out to me, snappydds@gmail.com. I'd love to chat with you. And you can also reach me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy, and all the information is in the description. All right, here is our full Saturn square so you can get a full picture. We're going to start here. Wow. So connecting to this teacher, learning what is need to be learned, learning to connect to the flow and see, like, the Hierophant is not simply just the teacher, but they're a traditional teacher. They're a traditional authority. They're one who can see that unfolding of Rhea. They know the natural way. They know how to move through these cycles of Fortuna. They know how to ride through this wave of transformation, right? And through connecting with this energy, through listening and learning, you gain the power of victory. They show you. They know how to teach you the way. You just have to listen and be aware, right? Amazing. Now let's go to our center here with that gain. Through sacrifice and movement, if we can overcome this hangman energy and make the necessary active change to come down, to take responsibility, gain will come in and we can move to this divine queen and connect with this energy, right? Whether that's embodying this energy or moving in loving connection with this energy, but this is profound power coming in, you know? And she's the key to this game. Amazing. And when we go to this side, wow. This ruination energy is coming from almost this two polarizing forces that need to be reconciled within the self, you know? Fire and water, right? Both are seeking transformation. Both are seeking to connect and move and to grow, but in very different ways, you know? On one hand, this Addis energy is an energy of disconnection, right? Even though it's that water, it's not seeking out the other, it's seeking out the highest, right? It's about connecting to that divine feminine, right? It's about abstinence and self-control, you know, and rising above the mud. Whereas this outgoing energy of the chariot driver, right, of the Prince of Wands, this is about pursuing love, chasing after that connection of that flame, moving in passion, right? Being in these two directions is causing this conflict. We need to pick a direction. We need to see where we're going. And what I'm seeing here when I'm looking at the full square here is that this energy of the Addis energy has brought us to where we need to go. This was faded energy. But now this is energy that is moving and is changing. Through connecting to this divine teacher, through going through this sacrificial change, active change, we're moving from that solitary focus of inner refinement, right? Of that Addis energy. And then we're coming now to embody this Herculean energy, right? The one who goes out and seeks to do the labors necessary to transform in a different way, pursuing love, right? Almost like Jason energy even, which is wild. Excuse me. Yeah. Intense. Let's check our crosses here. Where does the victory come in? We need to embody. Excuse me, sorry. Bad allergies for me. Oof. Excuse me. But yeah, the victory is going to come in if we pursue our passion, if we're willing to move and to chase after love, right? We need to stop being in this energy of self-control and of seeking the highest in the stars and be more in that active energy of movement, of embracing that fiery, passionate love, right? Because when we bring in that fiery, passionate love, it's when the gain comes in. It's where the victory is achieved, right? It's when we connect to that teacher. Wow. Incredible. And then when we do our other connection here, you know, there is some pain and fear here about this faded direction, about connecting to this hierophantic energy, right? That Venus and Taurus energy. And this is kind of really profound energy to have for the moon in Taurus, you know, in this teacher energy. What I'm seeing here is that there's a lot of pain and frustration about the unfolding of the natural universe, right? And many people face this frustration, right? Frustration that we have no control and that the universe just moves, right? The Hierophant is the one who can see the game and can utilize the flow to their advantage and move and adapt with it, right? To the point where they have authority and power in an ever-changing world, right? They become that foundational energy. They connect to that foundational energy. They can wield that energy. And that's where the gain comes in. We just need to overcome this ruin, learn to accept fate, learn to listen and to adapt. Also being able to listen to the teacher and take advice, right? This energy is stubborn energy, refusal energy, not willing to listen to what the teacher is saying. Sometimes the teacher gives us hard lessons, right? Things we don't want to hear, things that are painful. But if we can learn to embrace the teachings, gain will come in. Wow. So the message here I'm seeing is that we need to transform from this reflective energy of Addis, where we're in this mode of self-transformation, of overcoming the nymphs and of seeking that higher self, into that outgoing pursuing of love energy, right? In that movement. We need to chase after gain. We need to pursue that queen. We need to embrace the victory. We need to listen to that teacher. Make the sacrifices necessary. Overcome this self-doubt and ruination. Wow. If we can embrace that fire, that passion, that love, change and power is coming in. If we can learn to adapt to the changing fortune, body that Hierophant, we will achieve victory. All right, beautiful. That's the message, everyone. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. And yeah, just learn to recognize when it is time to move outward in the world and pursue love. Both the Prince of Cups and Prince of Fire are beautiful energies, right? And there's different times for different things. If you want to move and connect to that queen, if you want that victory, you have to embody that outgoing energy of that prince, you know? And that prince needs to listen and learn from the teacher to understand what sacrifices must be made in order to move. That's the lesson. All right. For our final thing today, we are going to go to our Ganapati Oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is that Lord of beginnings, the Lord of the thresholds, the divine child, right? Please inspire us, Ganapati Ganesha, Lord of the Ganas. All right. Surrender. Accept your fate. Move with it in that loving, fiery, passionate flow. Stop overthinking. And look to those around you who are already doing so. You will recognize them. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this really resonated. Peace and love. And I will see you again tomorrow. Take care.